Craic, or crack, is a term for news, gossip, fun, entertainment, and enjoyable conversation, particularly prominent in Ireland. It is often used with a definite article the Craic. The word has an unusual history. The English crack was borrowed into Irish as Craic in the mid-20th century, and the Irish spelling was then reborrowed into English. Under either spelling, the term has great cultural currency and significance in Ireland. History: the term crack is ultimately derived from the Middle English crach, meaning loud conversation, bragging talk. A sense of crack found in northern England and Scotland meaning conversation, or news produces expressions such as, "What's the crack?" meaning, "How are you?" or "Have you any news?" The context involving news and gossip originated in Northern English and Scots. A book on the speech of Northern England published in 1825 equates crack with chat, conversation, news. The Scottish song The Walk o' the Weavers, which dates back to the early part of the 19th century, published by David Shaw, who died in 1856, has the opening line "Mira met the jither here tie sit and crack, real glasses in her hands." A collection of folk songs from Cumberland published in 1865 refers to villagers enjoying their crack. A glossary of Lancashire terms and phrases published in 1869 lists crack as meaning chat, as does a book on the local culture of Edinburgh published in the same year. Glossaries of the dialects of Yorkshire, Cheshire, and Northumberland equate crack variously with conversation, gossip, and talk. These senses of the term entered Hiberno English from Scots through Ulster at some point in the mid-20th century and were then borrowed into Irish. Early Irish citations from the Irish Independent relate to rural Ulster. From 1950, there was much good crack. In the edition of Country magazine which covered Northern Ireland. Or from 1955, the Duke had been sitting on top of Kelly's Gate watching the crack. At this time the word was, in Ireland, associated with Ulster dialects. In 1964 linguist John Braidwood said of the term, "Perhaps one of the most seemingly native Ulster words is crack." In fact the word is of English and Scots origin. It can frequently be found in the work of 20th century Ulster writers such as Jennifer Johnston, "I'm sorry if I muscled in on Saturday. Did I spoil your crack?" and Brian Farrell, "You never saw such crack in your life, boys." Like many other words over the centuries, crack was borrowed into the Irish language with the Gaelicised spelling Craic. It has been used in Irish since at least 1968, and was popularised in the catchphrase Biachiol, Cain Acres Craic again, used by C.N. Barr and Brethnach for his Irish language chat show SBB Inashwa, broadcast on RTA Permill from 1976 to 1982. The Irish spelling was soon reborrowed into English, and is attested in publications from the 1970s and 80s. Craic has also been used in Scottish Gaelic since at least the early 1990s, though it is unknown if it was borrowed directly from Irish or from English. At first the Craic form was uncommon outside of Irish, even in an Irish context. Barney Rush's 1960s song The Crack Was 90 in the Isle of Man does not use the Irish language spelling, neither is it used in Christy Moore's 1978 version. However, the Dubliners' 2006 version adopts the Irish spelling. The title of Four to the Bar's 1994 concert album, Craic on the Road, uses the Irish language spelling as an English language pun, as does Irish comedian Dara Brin's 2012 show Craic Dealer. Now, Craic is interpreted as a specifically and quintessentially Irish form of fun. The adoption of the Gaelic spelling has reinforced the sense that this is an independent word rather than a separate sense of the original word. Frank McNally of the Irish Times has said of the word, "Most Irish people now have no idea it's foreign." Criticism of the spelling Craic: the spelling Craic has attracted criticism. English language specialist Diame Demure wrote in his Irish Times column the words we used that the constant Gaelicisation of the good old English-Scottish dialect word crack as Craic sets my teeth on edge. Other linguists have referred to the Craic form as fake Irish. Writing for the Irish Independent, Irish journalist Kevin Myers has criticised the Craic spelling as being pseudo-Gaelic, and a bogus neologism. Sociology: the Craic has become a part of Irish culture. In a 2001 review of the modern Irish information economy, information sciences professor Eileen M. Trauth notes Craic as an intrinsic part of the culture of sociability that distinguished the Irish workplace from those of other countries. Trauth found that even as Ireland transitioned away from an economy and society dominated by agriculture, the traditional importance of atmosphere and the art of conversation Craic remains, and that the social life is a fundamental part of workers' judgment of quality of life. Critics have accused the Irish tourism industry and the promoters of Irish theme pubs of marketing commodified Craic as a kind of stereotypical Irishness. In his companion to Irish traditional music, Fintan Worley suggests that use of Craic in English is largely an exercise on the part of Irish pubs to make money through the commercialisation of traditional Irish music. Likewise, Donald Clarke in the Irish Times associates the change of spelling to Craic with the rebranding of the Irish pub as a tourist attraction during the 1990s. See also, language contact. Notes. References, Irish slang. Irish slang. Oxford English Dictionary. Oxford University Press. The New Comprehensive Dictionary of the English Language. Nunes and Chambers. Dineen, Patrick S. Folklore Goid Hill Jagus Bella. Dublin, Irish Text Society. McGovern, Mark. Michael Cronin and Barbara O'Connor, ed. The Cracked Pint Glass of the Servant, The Irish Pub, Irish Identity, and the Tourist Eye. Irish Tourism, Image, Culture and Identity. ISBN 1-873150-54-7. McGovern, Mark. The Craic Market, Irish Theme Bars and the Commodification of Irishness in Contemporary Britain. Irish Journal of Sociology 11.277 €98. Trauth, Eileen M. The Culture of an Information Economy. Springer. ISBN 1-4020-0396-X. Retrieved April 6, 2010.